Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Board Game Mechanics. I'm Katie, and with me, as always, is...
Hey, everybody, what's going on? It is Jason.
Well, if you're keeping in time with us, sorry that this is a little bit later than usual. So you can hear in my voice, I'm having some allergy problems or a cold, of course, just in time for a fall break from teaching. So that's always fun. So I apologize. It is totally my fault. If you're listening to us later, you don't care.
I mean, I wasn't blaming it on you when I made the post. I was just saying.
No, I'm ready to accept the blame. I took some cold medicines last night before bed, and I had some wild dreams. Like I was mentioning on the chat earlier, I had a dream Mike from Board Game Rundown was there, and I think Bob, definitely, maybe Tim. Brandon was there, but on the way home he got sick, and I had to drag him to an ER. But we were playing super ugly Euros, Clemens Franz, tracks everywhere, like Lorenzo, Marco Polo, those kind of things. So it was a crazy medicine-induced dream.
Yeah, that is weird. I mean, I like those games, so I'm not going to complain, but yeah, it's weird.
Yeah, it was kind of weird. And the whole thing was Brandon was sick the whole weekend, but he didn't want to say anything, so he just kept going. And then on the way home, he just couldn't make it. We had to get him to the hospital. It was terrible.
That's funny.
Yeah, it sounds about right.
Yeah, sounds right.
Well, since we are late, I don't want to linger over pathetic intro banter. So I want to get started on crowdfunding because I've got some interesting things this week. So the first item up for crowdfunding is on Kickstarter, and I believe it's based on, I don't know if it's a game app on a phone or an actual either PC or console game, but it is called Cookie Run Kingdom, and this is the board game. So apparently Cookie Run Kingdom is already a game somewhere. I didn't do extensive research on that, but it exists, and now they're bringing it to the board game realm, and let me tell you, the art is so adorable. So in Cookie Run Kingdom, you are one of these cookies, and they are so cute. You get ginger brave, strawberry cookie, wizard cookie, chili pepper cookie, or custard cookie the third. And they're so cute. So you are playing one of those, and you're really trying, I don't know, to grow and restore the Cookie Kingdom. I'm not sure the exact thematic elements there, but it's at its heart is a worker placement kind of game. So you have 3 different phases. There's only 8 rounds, so it seems pretty quick. The main phase is the sugar gnome phase, where you are taking actions with your sugar gnomes and placing them out there, and they can go to purchase these pillars that you can put out. They can go and collect resources so you can build things, gaining coins. They can also go and fight and defeat monsters, and you can collect the bounty on them. So you're sending out your cookies, your sugar gnomes, to get these things. And then you're going to use the resources and the money that you get to pay costs to construct buildings and landmarks, or upgrade your cookie castle. And if you upgrade, your area, because everyone has a player board, and there's also the main board where you take actions, then more sugar gnomes will join your kingdom. So that's a way of getting more workers. You start your board with some forests, so you're also going to try to clear the overgrown forest so you can expand your kingdom and have more spaces to build. It just looks so cute. Oh my gosh, it is adorable. And I like a basic worker placement, and the theme is cute. The little sugar gnomes, they're freaking adorable. It's just an adorable looking game. So if you're interested in that, check out Cookie Run Kingdom, the board game. There are 6 days left on that Kickstarter, and it is $39.
Yeah, this does look cool. It looks like it released in South Korea earlier, a couple years ago, and they're finally bringing it to America, which is cool.
It's so adorable.
Yeah, the bits are really cute. They're like those fat, chunky, like My Little Pony bits almost.
Yes.
Yeah, those are cool.
Oh, yeah. It says download, 200 million downloads, casual RPG game. And now it's like a board game.
An app. I was Googling it when you were talking.
Yeah. It looks great. And like, it looks like there's possibilities for expansions based on the fact that they've got this other game kind of background to it. So, yeah. Cookie Run Kingdom. Yeah,
it looks cool. I'm going to look into that a little more because it's cute.
Yeah, it says 14 plus, so like it's not necessarily a kid's game, but man, it's super adorable. I feel like at least we could play it with our kids. Yeah, in conjunction with it. Here, you place out the sugar domes and what buildings should we add to our forest, those kind of things.
Yeah.
The next one is very thematic for the time of year. It's a little creepy, and I love it. And this is called Mary Shelley's Dream. This is by Rhapsody Games. This is their first one, as far as I can tell. There's the person behind Rhapsody Games, a screenwriter and actor, apparently creates digital content, and now is doing board games. This is actually a print and play game that is a roll and write. And in this game, you are basically Mary Shelley, I think, in a lot of ways. And this game is basically, if you took Abomination and made it a roll and write, which I find very intriguing.
Yeah, that is cool. I like that theme a lot.
Right, so you got you can have character sheets, so you can have characters much like you do in Abomination. You've got your game sheet where you mark off things. You need a pencil and you have to provide dice. So 2 white and a black. And what you're doing is the black dice is actually the suspicion kind of die. It's to tell if the police are looking for you. So you've got to work with that. And then you get your white dice and you use them to get body parts for your creature. You can also use them to get money, to get more skills, which are going to help you with the rolls. You can use some luck. Then also later you can go to the hospital to get access to the morgue. So certain die will give you that. And once you fill up like your work in the hospital, then you can go grab parts from the morgue. You can hire thieves, and they are going to help you advance a little bit, but also, again, a little bit suspicious of the police. You can then go and as you collect your body parts, you're putting them onto your creature, which requires a certain roll. You even go to the market to get Leyden jars and use them for reanimation. And you have to turn in some resources for that and have your Leyden jars to reanimate your creature. And you're all the while making sure the police don't catch you. So again, it is so much like Abomination, but with this roll and write, how the dice play. And even we talked about there is some some luck randomness with that original game. So why not take it all the way? So this seems really interesting, and especially for like a print and play. And you could really like boost it up. You could play with a ton of people. It looks really quick. It says 15 minutes. And the theme is awesome. So if you like that creepy theme, you like some roll and writes, you're looking for something, Mary Shelley's Dream, 9 days left on that Kickstarter, $5 gives you everything.
Yeah, it's not bad. I was wondering if it was just a solo game, but
you can play it solo, but it also is competitive. You can do competitive as well.
I mean, I love Abomination, so any theme like that, because there's not a lot of games that have that cool dark, like it's a super dark theme.
Oh, yeah.
I think, it doesn't need to be like super gory and whatever, but you can have some games that have a dark theme and just kind of take you to that place, which is pretty cool. And that's what this one sounds like. Yeah, sounds cool.
Well, and with the 9 days left, as soon as the campaign's over, you'll get the files in an email. So
nice.
It's like just in time, and you can laminate them if you want. They said they only use full sheets, so it's not like you have to cut stuff out or whatever. Yeah, it looks cool.
Yeah, it does look cool. You're right.
Okay, so moving on from something creepy to something really lovely, and this game is called Redwood. This is by Sit Down with an exclamation point.
Sit down.
Yep. It's a Belgian publisher. They did Magic Maze. I don't know anything, obviously, about them.
I know what that is, but it's like a real time moving through this maze, trying to piece it together type of deal.
Yeah, because it was nominated for the Spiel des Jahres, so that's pretty big.
Yeah,
But
it's like being nominated for a Grammy or an Oscar.
right. So this one is about being a photographer. So, and it is beautiful because of that theme. So you have like this panorama of, and I think they say it's set in like the Western US. So a lot of the national parks out there, like Yosemite, Yellowstone. I'm like, why can't I remember the big park? Yellowstone. And what happens at the beginning of your turn, you choose your templates, which is really interesting. So there's a template for movement and a template for taking your picture. And it's really, the way you choose those is strategic because the first template for movement, you can only move where that template goes, and it like hooks onto like a little miniature of your character. So you can show exactly where you go. You can swing it around to try and get a good spot because again, then you're going to take a picture and then you're going to use, and it's like a little clear kind of plastic piece that is the view that you're going to see from your picture. And there's subjects on the board, like little animals, different like plants and things, and you're facing a particular direction. So you are trying to line up with some cards that you might want to add to a panorama on your board. You want to get certain subjects in there because they're going to give you points because I think it's only maybe 5 rounds. So you're taking 5 pictures. That's it to try and get the most points. So again, fairly quick, but really beautiful and really interestingly strategic because, some of these photograph templates, they have these little like circles on them. And if you can get like a subject, a flower or an animal directly on there, that gives you a bonus, which I think is really cool. There's also a way to play this as teams. And then you have to make sure that your movement doesn't cross templates. There's a solo mode, which is basically like high score trying to break some records. There's all different kinds of animals. The animals move once you take a picture with them. They have even a little expansion that lets you have like a base camp, lets you move in different ways, a couple different special templates. It is a really neat concept, and the artwork is very beautiful. It's not like cutesy like we talked about in Cookie Run, but it's just very elegant, this wildlife look to it. I am really intrigued by this. It just really catches your eye on the table, and just this idea of having these little kind of plastic templates that restrict your movement or give you big movement but don't allow you to turn very much. How to line up subjects in your photo with this particular thing you're taking a picture of, because each round there's different items. If you get them in your picture, you get bonus points for it. I like that little puzzly aspect. So if that's interesting to you, check out Redwood. There are 12 days left on that Kickstarter, and it's $44 for the retail version of the game.
Sounds cool. I mean, it's no Cookie Run, but it sounds pretty good.
And that is all I have for crowdfunding this week.
All right, so now we're going to talk about some games that we played. So this first one here, we talked about last week because Katie was able to play it at the gaming weekend that we were at. But she liked it so much, she talked to me about it. I saw a little bit of it, and I found a copy, bought it, and now I've had the chance to play it, and Katie's played it again, and we wanted to talk about it again. And that game is Wonderlands War. So if you listen to the podcast from last week, you know Katie's thoughts, but she can talk again later. But let's talk about what I think of this game. So Wonderlands War is... it's a game that's played in 2 parts, where the first part is you're moving your little character around this tea party table, trying to collect different chits to get into your bag. Because at its heart, this game is a push your luck bag building type of game, which means you get chips, you put them in your bag, you're going to be drawing chips out of your bag. And then the second half of each round is you're going to be battling in these 5 different battles, or 4 if you're playing a 2-player game, and trying to either be the last one left standing, or get so far out ahead that you automatically win, or everybody stops and you're in the lead. If you're in the lead, you get some points. You get to build a castle. If you're in second, you get half the points. And you're also trying to complete these quest cards based on what you pull out of your bag, how much strength you have in certain battles, and all that kind of thing. And you're going to be doing that over 3 times. Whoever has the most points is the winner. Now, this game is fantastic. I haven't been this excited about a game that I've played recently in a long time. It's everything that I like in a game. It's putting chips in a bag, and then you're playing 5 little mini games that are basically like little versions of Quacks of Quedlinburg. You're doing that 3 times. So 15 little mini games of Quacks where you're just pulling chips out of the bag, trying to move up on this track, trying to not bust because there's always a risk of busting, and that's terrible. It's just so good. I love pulling stuff out of a bag. I love push your luck. And there should be no surprise that this game, in my opinion, does it almost better than any other game. And I love it. So Wonderlands War is a fantastic game. I want to play it every day, all the time. And that's saying something coming from me. And the theme is awesome. The art is great. We don't even have the fancy deluxe version, but it still looks amazing. And yeah, I can't say enough stuff. So how do you feel about Wonderlands War after, I think, 1 or 2 more plays? 2 more plays.
I'm almost sorry that I introduced this game to you because you are a bit obsessive about it. However, it is so good. And I thought it was interesting to play it too, because I had played it at 4 players. I think it plays up to 5, I believe. Yeah. And I really enjoyed it at 4 because there are a lot of things happening where if I'm not involved in a battle, I can, vote on the outcome. And if I wager and then win, I can get more chips in my bag, which is something I really love. At 2 players, it is different because I found you don't have that wager. So I was thinking I just need to get in every battle, because otherwise I'm just giving points away potentially to my opponent. So it really does change the strategy. It's fun. I think I prefer what's happening in a larger player count. But even that really kind of tested, how I decide that I want to play. I've tried a couple different characters now. So for the 2 player, I was the Queen of Hearts, and I think that really worked well in a 2 player because I could move lots of people around different places. So I was involved.
Queen of Hearts is annoying to play against.
I don't know, but I felt like it wasn't as annoying in a 4 player game.
Yeah, that's true.
I find that Alice is a little more annoying in a 4 player.
Alice is super obnoxious. Yeah, I agree.
But just exploring the different powers and stuff, I think is really fun. There is tons of replayability. We've only up till now used the very basic function powers of the allies. So like in Quacks, where you can choose the different kinds of powers the chips have, that's the same here. There's 4 different sets, and we've only done A, and it's still been like ridiculously fun. And there is something nice about knowing how the chips work. And again, that develops your strategy. For me, like, I just play best when I have a lot of quests, and I need to do that. I tried the Cheshire Cat. Some of his like smile powers are awesome, but I got distracted in that and didn't do some other stuff well. Yeah, there's just a lot here. And again, what I think is nice is that for people that like dudes on a map fighting, you have sort of some of that. Like there's a prep phase and there's a fight phase. But if you don't really like that, there's still a lot here for people that aren't into fighting, because the fighting doesn't feel mean. It's more like I'm pushing my luck, and there are lots of other ways to benefit from a battle other than winning.
Yeah, I hate the dudes on a map thing, but I think the battles are done very well. It's perfect. Yeah,
especially because it's really about, like, sometimes I want to get involved in a battle and because I just need to get on a forge space, or I need to get a certain number of chips out or whatever. So I honestly don't care about the outcome. And maybe I've already placed, a castle or something there. I'm just like, I'm trying to hit these other goals, which are points. And yes, I might get points from the outcome of the battle, but I might get more points really in the long run from completing my feat. So it's, unless I completely bust, which is my own fault, unless I bust, I'm still getting something. And I really like that about the game, because a lot of times when it's just a bunch of dudes fighting, people are just characters beating it out. If I lose, it's over. And you don't get that from Wonderlands War. And which I think, Jason has mentioned in the video, I think that was a flaw in the marketing for this game, because it very much is like, it's a war and you're battling. And I'm like, oh, area control. I freaking hate area control. And battling I don't love, because I get really aggressive. I like to play a major aggro game and just like beat down on people, and then people get mad at me, and then I feel bad about myself. I didn't want that. That is not what this game is. there's just so, and again, one of my favorite things is multiple paths to victory. And the more I play it, the more I see that there are, and the more I find like what works for me, the way the different characters work. Gosh, there's just so many good things here. I really enjoy it.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I love it.
Did you like it better at 2 or multiple counts?
I like it at all. I kind of play it the same way at all the player counts because I want to be involved in all the wars. So
that's not good.
I know. I just like to be in there. So, but I think at 4 or at more than 2, the battles are a little more interesting because more people are duking it out, and you got to try to beat some of the scores a little bit better, and maybe sit some out so you can have some chips in your bag for the battle that you really need to win. Yeah, no, but I'll play it at 2 any day. But I don't know if I play it at 5, probably be too long. But 4 is great, 3 is great. Yeah, I just like this game a lot. It's good.
But the thing at 5 is, that's the other thing I like, is that you're always involved.
Yeah, that's true. Except during like the tea party, you're not as involved, but at least in the battles you are.
But in the tea party, you're also like, oh, are you going to take what I want? Like, what's refilled? What's out there? I'm always thinking in other people's turns, so I am always involved, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I'm doing my own thing, usually staring at my board, trying to figure stuff out. But then I look up and like, where the other stuff that I want to go?
What's this crap?
Yeah, great game. Great game.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Thanks for making me buy a game and getting obsessed with it. All right, so the next game we played is actually one that the publisher sent us because I wanted it. I love the theme. I love the gimmick because I'm all about gimmicks. And we played this with our friends Brandon and Josie, and this game is called The Spill. And this is a cooperative game about rescuing marine life from an oil well that's spilling oil into the ocean. And the way this game works is kind of pandemic-esque. Everybody has 4 actions that they can spend. And on your turn, at the beginning of your turn, you're going to throw a certain number of oil dice into the oil well, which is going to pollute the board around. And if an animal gets covered with a dye, it gets contaminated. You have to rescue that animal or get that dye off that animal by the end of the turn, or the animal goes to sick bay. And that's one of your losing conditions. If you get 3 of a certain type of an animal in sick bay, or one of every 6 animal in one of all 6 of the animals in sick bay, let's say that right, you lose. Or if too many sections of the board have 3 dice on that section, you lose. If there's 6 of those at the end of your turn, the game is over. And the players are going to have 3 of their own winning goals to win the game. So after you dump the dice in there, then you're going to take one of the 4 actions. That is, move your boat 1 or 2 spaces. You can push oil off the board back into the bag for an action. You can rescue a healthy animal in your section for an action. You can rescue a contaminated animal in your section for 2 actions. And you can remove a die from the game for 3 actions. And that's one of the goals most of the time for winning the game. You need to remove so many dice. You need to rescue so many animals. You may have to rescue so many contaminated animals. And you're just trying to do all that together. Everybody has a special ability, too, that's going to help you with all that. And you're trying to do all that and win before one of those 3 losing conditions happen. And there's a cool oil well gimmick where dice hit it, spills it out randomly. I love it. So, yeah. I like this game. I've played it. That's 3 times for me now. Twice solo, once with actual people. And it's better with actual people because more communication and all that talking. When there's a cooperative game, they do work a little bit better with more people. And I like it. It's pretty hard. It starts out like you're really going to be breezing by, then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, it amps up. And then you're really trying to sweat it, trying to sort it out. We've only played it on easy, so again, it's not like brutally hard. But for what you think is going to be happening at the beginning to what does happen, it gets a little tricky. So how did you feel about The Spill?
Yeah, I think that this game has the potential to be brutal because it even is pretty hard on easy. It has that, in my mind, reminds me of Robinson Crusoe. Like, it's just kind of coming at you. It doesn't stop. The oil doesn't stop, which I think makes it really thematic. Also, that theme makes me very upset. I'm like, oh my gosh, we're killing this wildlife. And you get really caught up in that. Like, we have to save this turtle. He is sick. The player powers are so key in here to try and like get people where they need to be, to use them properly, to make the most of what you have, to meet the objectives. It is very tense. Absolutely. Like, I was very tense the whole time. I was relieved when it was over, not because I didn't like the game, but because we actually won and like rescued the ocean. Like, that felt super good. Like, as a free willy Captain Planet kid. I felt Fern Gully. This was like, yes, we have defeated the corporation, saved the ocean. Like, it felt really good. So it is satisfying when you do win, but it is difficult. You have to take care of your turns. You're cleaning up messes. Stuff is going to crap all around you. And the little oil rig is pretty cool. Like, that is a cool gimmick. Yeah, cool. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, and the theme, I think it feels really thematic too.
Oh, sure.
The dice
absolutely.
spilling out into the water randomly, which is what an oil well would do when it's broken. And then you're just trying to get those, sea creatures out of there so they don't die from all the oil. I mean, it's a cool theme. It's probably more important of a theme now than before because we need to be careful what we're doing. But yeah, I like the theme of it. I love the gimmick. Any game that has a gimmick automatically gets a little bit of a nudge up for me. But yeah, I like this game. It's good. All right, so the last game we're going to talk about is a little card game from Alexander Pfister. Or no, sorry, Phil Walker Harding. Wrong guy. And this is called Archaeology, the New Expedition. And this is a game where basically it feels like a regular card game, which means on your turn you're going to draw a card and you're going to take an action or, a couple actions. But what you're trying to do is you're trying to collect different sets of artifacts from these cards to sell them to the museum to score points. So it's basically a set collection game. What makes this a little bit different is throughout the deck there are going to be some thieves and some sandstorms, which are going to make it a little bit hairier to collect those sets. So a thief, if you draw a thief, you get to steal a card from another player's hand. If you draw a sandstorm, then you either have to discard half of your cards rounded down, or if you have a tent in front of you, you can use your tent one time to protect against the sandstorm. So the game kind of discourages you from holding a bunch of cards for a long period of time because those sandstorms can come out, and if you already use your tent, you're hosed. And then there's also some maps in the deck, and the maps are going to let you dig through one of the monuments to get some cards out of there. Each of the monuments are going to have cards in different types of stacks, and you're going to be able to explore those stacks in different ways based on one of the 6 monuments. And you're just trying to do all that, get as many points as you can before the deck runs out. Once the deck runs out, game's over, and then you just play till all your cards are gone. And that's it. You're just trying to get the most points. I like this game quite a bit. It's really simple to play, but it's just really fun to me. So how'd you feel about Archaeology? You played it before, right?
Yes, I played it once before. It is, super simple, super easy. But again, like, I like games where you have to make choices. So sometimes as you're going on, you're like, ooh, I have these like big point cards in my hand, but I could lay it down and complete a set and get full points. So it might be worth it. I held on to the freaking Pharaoh's mask. I had 3 at one point, and I was like, I should lay these down. I'm like, no, I could get that 4th. Nobody else seems to be having the 4th. It totally could come out. We're done with sandstorms. I'm cool. I was not cool. Jason stole one. And instead of actually playing it, he puts it down in the market. And
I was using it as trade bait. Get off me.
Right. I could never get it back because I couldn't get enough cards then to equal what I needed to get the stupid mask back. And I hosed myself and I lost real bad. And really the strategy for those things it's not worth it. It's not worth it.
It's too hard and it's too risky to get those masks. It's difficult.
Well, if I'd laid down the 3 when I should have, it would have been fine.
Well, that's true. Yeah, you kind of pushed your luck a little too much there.
I did. But that's a sign of a good game. That's something that's fun. It's over really quick. So you play it once, you're like, oh, okay, let's do it again. Like, it's really easy. A good game to get non-gamers into because you really don't like the actual gameplay itself. Not difficult. Draw a card. But it's fun. It's a nice filler. It's a nice, just little light game it's good. I liked it.
Yeah, and the production is really nice too. The cards are really nice quality. The monuments are really thick cardboard. Not that they're even necessary, honestly, but it looks nice. So yeah, those are the 3 games that we played. Let's move on.
All right. Well, I don't know if I gave it away, but I started on the concept of the season. We are approaching Halloween. We took our kids to pick out their costumes the other day. They're pumped for trick-or-treating, and we're also pumped to play spooky games. So this week we're taking a break from the shelves. We're gearing up for our top 100, but we don't want to forget Halloween, which is one of my favorite holidays. So we've got a collection. Each of us picked 3 spooky games that we really like to play, that we think are fun, and will get you into the Halloween spirit. So, Jace, get us started.
All right, and I'm just going to put this up at the top here. I could have just done the same list that I did last year, but I wanted to spread some more love around because you don't want to do the same list over and over and over. But I do have one still from last year, so a little bit of a spoiler if you remember back a year ago. So my first one that I'm going to talk about is a Martin Wallace game. I mean, all of his games are kind of spooky when you look at them because they're terrible looking. Ugh. But this one actually has kind of a spooky-ish theme, and it's called Study in Emerald, and we had the second edition. If you had the first edition, similar theme. And what you're doing in this is you're taking on the role of either a sympathizer or someone who's trying to eliminate the Elder Gods. The trick here is you don't know who's on your team. So the theme is it takes place in like a Sherlock Holmes universe, but the Elder Gods are also in there. So there's a bunch of Cthulhu and like zombies and all that. I don't know why there's zombies in there, but there's zombies and a whole bunch of other random like creepy little things. And it's just basically like a deck building, worker placement, area control game with some hidden teams. It's really complicated to explain. It's hard to kind of really understand and play too. But the theme is right on the money, I think, for this list with a little bit of spooky Cthulhu and zombie stuff. And the board looks kind of gothic as well and all that. So that's why I wanted to put it on my list. So Study in Emerald, the first one that I'm talking about.
Yeah, it is super confusing. I don't like this game. I mean, we know that I mostly don't have any love lost for Marty Wallace unless it's London, so yeah.
And Brass, you love Brass. Even though you say it, you love Brass.
I do not. You had it out playing it by yourself last night, and I was like, I want to burn this thing. Game is awful. I hate that game.
But it's a looker. It looks great, though, right?
Oh, my gosh. Yeah. Such great. Ugh. No, my first game is one that I have talked about before because I love it so much. But this particular version, super creepy. And that is Consulting Detective, Jack the Ripper and the West End Adventures. Y'all know I love Consulting Detective. And if you like deduction, if you are an armchair detective and you like to figure out stuff. I was just watching Murder, She Wrote this morning. R.I.P. Angela Lansbury. I love you. Consulting Detective is for you. You are reading an introduction to a case and then you are hunting stuff down and you are kind of following your own leads. Like, well, where do I go? Do I need to talk to the coroner? Do I need to go to the scene, the crime scene? Am I chasing down where these different parts were manufactured? Am I, looking for telegrams? Am I talking to the cabbies? It's self-directed, which is awesome. And you really are relying on your brain power. But the and a general murder, also creepy. But in the Jack the Ripper and the West End Adventures, there is a series of, I don't know if I'm trying to remember how many, four or five of the cases are all part of, and they're based on the actual murders that we know about from Jack the Ripper. So you are going to the crime scene. They are describing what happened to these women. It's super creepy. I mean, the people that you run into and what they say and some of the descriptions of what happened and the autopsy kind of sketches. It is not for the faint of heart. But it's so cool because you are going to each of these different murders. You're obviously not looking for the murderer because we don't know. We still don't know who Jack the Ripper is. There are many theories, and there is one theory that you are working towards. So then you piece all the information you've gotten together from these murders in the last case. And I looked like that crazy conspiracy theory meme with Post-it notes on the wall and pens stuck in everything with yarn. I mean, we had the map out. I had pawns everywhere indicating the different murder scenes it is intense and super creepy. I love it. So Consulting Detective, Jack the Ripper and the West End Adventures. I would say this is probably my favorite of the cases I've worked on for the most part.
Yeah, the theme is good. It's like that creepy serial killer theme, which is a great spooky theme. Mm-hmm. Could be H.H. Holmes in the West End Adventures.
Yeah.
So my next one is actually, it's a silly party game, but the theme definitely fits right in. And this game is called Growl. And this is a game about people trying not to become werewolves and getting bitten to basically score points. So there's going to be, at the beginning of the game, based on the number of players, a certain number of people are going to be werewolves. And the game is going to be played where you're going to flip a card, give it to somebody. If you ever get 3 bites without some salve, you become a werewolf. And if you get 3... Oh, shoot, what's the other thing? The kill. What's the kill?
What? Oh, wounds.
Wounds, yeah. If you get 3 wounds in the game without charms... Or maybe vice versa. I think the bite is with the charms and the wound is with the salve.
Yes, because bites are like magical, so you need like an amulet.
Yes.
Okay.
So if you get too many bites without charms, you become a werewolf. If you get too many wounds without salve, you die. And the whole point of this game is you're trying to, if you're on the werewolf team, you're trying to make every single other player a werewolf. Because if one person is a human at the end of the game, the werewolves lose. And if you're a human, you're trying to figure out who the werewolves are so you can ally with your humans to try to take them out or, keep them away and keep everybody who's a human a human. And that's it. You're trying to play at a certain number of gold. There's gold cards that you can collect too, and you get some gold for winning. It's a simple little game. It's a party game, but I like the werewolf theme. So that's why I made the list, and that is Growl.
Yeah, I really like this game. Is fun. And you could play it you could even play up the spookiness and everyone's quiet or you have some spooky music in the background. It usually devolves into chaos with accusations flying and everything,
yeah.
But
it's usually just madness. Yeah, that's true.
My next game has a spooky theme. I don't think it's scary at all, but it is a fun game. And that game, and you've heard me talk about this before, is Whoowasit? And this is
that sounds pretty spooky, right?
Right. This is an old game. Gosh, what, from the 70s?
No, it's not that old. It's
okay.
From the early 90s because it's Rocket Knit.
Oh, it's not that old. I thought it was super old.
It feels old, but it's not.
It feels real old, I got to tell you. But I guess since there's electronics and they're working, it's not as old as I thought it was. But it looks really old. Again, the artwork isn't great. But there is a ghost that kind of chases you around this castle where you're trying to figure out who stole the ring. And you're trying to figure out the ring, and you do this by going around to the different rooms in the castle. You are talking to the animals inside there. You are searching the rooms, finding things to offer to the animals for them to eat so that they'll tell you what they know, so that you can narrow down who took the ring, where is it, so that you can win before the evil wizard who props up and taunts you and the ghost comes and scares you around. Just a fun little, I don't know, just a nice little game. But it has the big haunted castle, and the box that you use where you input the information makes, creepy noises, and the ghost, oh, I am the ghost. And he talks like that.
Yeah. And he has chains too. He has chains that rattle.
He clanks his chains. It is attempting to be scary, but in a really fun, hokey way that you can play with your kids. So my second choice for the season is Whoowasit?
Yeah, it's a fantastic game. If you haven't ever heard of it, we have a video. You can check it out. It's fantastic. Not really scary, but it does have a ghost, and the ghost is cute. Mm-hmm. So my last one is actually the one that was on my list last year, and it fits this theme, in my opinion, better than most, because it's really dark and gruesome. Katie mentioned it a little bit earlier with the Mary Shelley thing, and this one is Abomination, the Heir of Frankenstein. This is a game about harvesting dead bodies to get their organs and their bones and their tissue to create a Frankenstein-like monster. That's pretty terrible. You can go to alleys and you can kill people. You're running from the cops. You can go to the town square where they just beheaded people, take their bodies and harvest their organs. It's a terrible theme, but at its heart, it's basically just a worker placement game. You're going to spot and collecting some stuff, trying to get a certain number of things to build different parts of your body. And then you have to shock the body to life, which is a little bit of push your luck dice rolling. And you're just trying to get more points than everybody else. It's a really great game. The theme really knocks it out of the park, I think. And it's just not one that we play a ton, but I do love it. It's very good theme, and probably the only Plaid Hat game that I'll ever play. So that is Abomination, the Heir of Frankenstein.
I don't think it's a terrible theme. It's just a creepy theme. It absolutely is creepy.
No, I don't think it's terrible either. I mean, it's
You
dark.
kept
and
saying the
gruesome.
words terrible. It's a terrible
Well,
theme.
I mean, terrible as in like dark and gruesome, not terrible as in terrible, I guess.
Hey, good job.
English is hard, okay?
It's not a morality-based game, which I think that's also interesting about it is you're also like struggling with your humanity. Like, well, if I kill too many people in the alley, my humanity is down really low, but I've got all these body parts that are really fresh. It is fun. It like lends to that kind of crazy discussion. Like, well, we haven't had enough executions lately, so we don't have any fresh body parts hanging out in the town square. Like, it just...
Yeah, you can go rob the cemetery. Like, it's crazy.
That's
I
old
almost said
bones.
terrible again, but I
See?
yeah. There are other words that I could use. Yeah.
There are other words. Good job. Yeah, it is such a fun game. Another reason why I find that like super interesting, that roll and write, because I really like that a lot. My last game is a new one because again, yeah, I've tried to choose all different ones that we talked about last year, because for some reason we play a lot of creepy themed games, I guess. But this one we don't own, and I played a copy of someone from the Board Game Rundowns game, and it is Return to Dark Tower. Now, I wasn't thinking like of the super creepy idea at the time, but it's a big dark tower that skulls tumble out of. Like,
Oh, that's a haunted tower for sure.
that is creepy. Also, like, I was given a job by Patrick. He said, you have the character that can dive in the dungeons. It's what we need. That is your job. And I was like, yes, sir, that is my job. And that's what I did the whole time. That push your luck, crawling through the dungeon. Like, am I going to die? How many soldiers am I sacrificing? That is intense.
Wait a minute. This game has push your luck in it?
Yes.
Oh, dang it.
I knew. I told you. I said, if you play it, you would like it.
You had to say the magical words.
Because you are really like, I'm trying to find what's here in this dungeon, and you are looking at the layout, and you're like, do I go left? Do I go right? How many people do I lose? Do I just keep trying to go? And I just like every time I'm like, I'm going for it. I'm going for it. I will. And sometimes I would clear like every stupid square in the dungeon to get what I needed, but I did it. And that intensity, like the creepiness of what's around the corner, periodically, monsters are coming out, attacking you. The skulls are piling up, which is bad. It is a creepy game. And I think, and especially like when the tower glows and moves, if you have the lights dimmed, that would make for some really cool thematic kind of creepy atmosphere. It would be awesome. So my last choice is Return to Dark Tower.
Yeah, it sounds like it fits the theme. And now that I know it has push your luck, I got to hopefully track something down so I can play it.
You better have somebody else bring it because...
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to buy it. I mean, come on. I will draw a line somewhere.
I think I know someone who has it.
You do?
Uh-huh.
Like, close?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, interesting. All right, we can talk about that later.
Maybe not close, but that will be in our area.
Oh, I got it. Oh, yeah. I think I know who you're talking about. All right, so let's talk about a few honorable mentions. Some of these were on the list last year, but some of them are new to the list, so we'll just kind of hit some of these real quickly. Guillotine is a game that I played a long time ago that our friend Chris actually just brought over not that long ago. It's about beheading people. I mean, that's a pretty gruesome theme, pretty spooky theme. Little card game, really fun, just trying to behead people and get some points. Horrified, which is a cooperative pandemic-style game where you're trying to run from these spooky movie monsters, trying to rescue civilians and all that stuff from the monsters so they don't die. Scones and Arsenic, which is a little party game about trying to not eat more poisoned cookies than everybody else. There's a little, like you're going to take a cookie out of the cookie box, and then hopefully it's not poison. If you eat too much poison, you die. Just trying to outlive everybody and score the most points. Demon Worker, talked about that a lot. Worker placement game where your demons trying to harvest the souls of humans and score points. And then I'll talk about one more. Salem 1692, which is a game from Facade where it's kind of functions similarly to Growl. People are going to be witches and they're trying to spread the witch infection. I don't know how you say it. Make other people
Convert
witches.
people to their witchy
convert
ways.
people to witchyism. And that's
Oh
what
my
you're doing.
gosh.
It's a cool game, and I like it. So I'll let Katie say so.
Oh, yeah. Cryptic Cafe is a new one. I'm ignoring all the witchy talk because you just ruined it. Cryptic Cafe is a new one to us that we picked up at Origins this year, where you are in a monster cafe and there's these adorable little different types of monsters. The Chupacabra, Sasquatch, they're fun, they're creepy, but not scary. The Bermuda Triangle, this is an old game, right? Older than Whoowasit.
From the 70s.
And I always associate the Bermuda Triangle with creepy, with the Addams Family, Uncle Fester, where you're trying not to get your boat sucked up into the Bermuda Triangle. A King of New York, classic monster fighting game. Ghost Blitz, which is more of a memory kind of game.
Speed game.
Speed game. But you have a ghost in there. So Jason thought it counted.
It's like winter theme games. As long as there's white on the tile, it's good to go.
Right. There's a ghost there. It's fine. Hocus Pocus board game, which we have. It's a cooperative game where you're trying to get the components for spells, correct?
Yeah, you're trying to defeat the Sanderson sisters by making different spells, yeah.
I wish they would change that. I want to be the Sanderson sisters. That's why I have trouble with the Hocus Pocus games. You don't get to be them.
You never get to be them. You're always fighting against them.
That's probably too creepy, because if I'm the Sanderson sisters,
sucking souls out of kids.
Yeah, who can suck the most children's souls? That's a creepy theme. I'm there for it. I gotta be honest. House of Danger, which Jason loved.
I love this game. It's the best game on this list.
The Choose Your Own Adventure game. There's lots of creepy stuff happening. There are giant bananas chasing you at one point.
That's pretty hilarious.
There are ghosts. There are intelligent monkeys. There are all kinds of things happening. Mortum, Medieval Detective. We just played the first scenario of that. I want to return to it. There's some creepy stuff happening. The guy we're supposed to meet isn't there anymore. Travelers are disappearing. I don't know if that's all spoiler, but
it's fine.
It's creepy, right? And finally, one of my absolute favorites, The Bloody Inn, where you are trying to kill off people that come to stay at your inn and hide their bodies before the cops show up. Classic.
Like any self-respecting hotel owner would do. I mean,
like you do. And then you add the expansion, which is the Carnies expansion. You want to talk about creepy. Whoa.
Bearded ladies, dwarves. Yeah, it gets a little crazy.
It gets weird. But that's the beauty of it. That creepy theme is awesome. Now, there are plenty more out there. I know it. Some of it, the fact is we just don't have them. The first thing I thought of was Night Cage. Is that the name I'm looking for?
Yeah, Night Cage. Yeah.
Which is a super thematic. It's dark and there's candles and music. Yes, that would probably be at the top of the list if I had ever played it or seen it. But I haven't. And that's where you come in. What creepy games do you love? Because believe me, I am into the creepy theme. There is an Addams Family game out there from the 70s that I want so bad.
It's super expensive.
Yes. But I love the creepy theme. I live for that kind of stuff. This is my jam. So tell me about your favorite creepy games. Tell us on Facebook, #The Riveted, our Discord channel, on the Twitters, on the Instas. Give me a tiki-taki of you holding up the creepy game. I would love that. I love creepy games. I love Halloween. I love costumes. All of it. Right now I'm into the Halloween gnomes. They're everywhere, and Jason regrets that a lot.
It's fine. I mean, it could be worse. It could be shrunken heads or, witchy stuff.
I mean, I have kept the voodoo dolls away, but I did bring out my cauldron.
That's true. We're one step closer to being the Sanderson sisters.
I mean, I can't find the big one, though, and I need my spell book. Do a little Winifred. I want to dress like them. I just need partners in crime so we could all be the Sanderson sisters.
I'll dress up like a lady anytime, any day.
You're
know that.
Obviously Kathy and Jimmy's character.
Oh, she's the best one, so that's fine.
I really want to be Sarah Jessica Parker's character, but I'm clearly Winifred. I'm clearly Bette Midler. It's obvious.
Yeah, you're old at heart. It's fine.
You shut your face. But I look young. Why that is, it's a secret. I think that's all. I've totally derailed. I'm jacked up on the cold medicine and Halloween. I love it. You have any parting thoughts? I'm actually letting you speak now at the end.
Not a lot of parting thoughts. Just thanks for watching YouTube. Thanks for listening to the podcast. We had great listens over the last couple weeks, so I don't know if maybe you ran out of all the other good podcasts and you just felt the need to give us a second chance again or something, but I appreciate it. Makes it feel good when I see the people actually listen to our nonsense and rambling, so that's good.
Right, or it's Halloween season and you're like, let me torture my friends and I'm going to tell them to listen to this podcast. Thank you.
Hey, whatever. If that's what it takes, I mean, I'm not going to judge. YouTube
subs, yeah. Like, hey, you want to see something really scary? Why don't you subscribe to the Board Game Mechanics?
It's the scariest of all. Yeah.
All right, well, that's all I think I have for today. You good?
Same. Yep,
all
I'm
right.
good.
Well, I've been Katie.
And I'm Jason.
Keep gaming, everybody.
Keep gaming.
I am very upset that I can't find my giant cauldron.